S&P 500 is down 10% year to date here in 2025. And if you are someone that's retiring in 2025, or maybe you're retiring in 26, or maybe you just retired in 2024, this type of market volatility can be extremely stressful, and it can also have a major impact on your long-term retirement plan if you don't have your investments positioned in an efficient way. So in today's video, I'm going to walk through a really simple framework that allows you to position your investments, your nest egg, in a way that allows these times of uncertainty and volatility to not have as big of an impact on your long-term plan. We're going to talk about how your investments need to tie in with your income needs in retirement, and how you can make those two things work together so that you can maintain your lifestyle, so that you can continue to travel, and so that when times of market volatility are happening, you don't have to be overly stressed. So that's what we're going to go over today. And if you're new here, my name is Ryan. I'm the founder of Denali Financial Group, and we help those of you that are close to retirement or are already in and navigating through retirement. And the way we help is we help with income planning, we help with investment planning, tax planning, healthcare, and legacy and estate plan. We call our plan the Mint for More retirement method. We like to make sure that you have all 5 areas of your retirement plan covered. But today, what I want to focus on is investments and income, and how those two can tie together with a really simple 3-bucket framework that we're going to walk through. And by the way, at the end of this video, we're going to have a quiz that you can take down below that allows you to go through and see if you're getting all 5 of the planning areas covered in your retirement. But let's get into today's video. So one of the most common things I hear when I meet with people that are getting ready to retire is they want to make sure that, one, quite simply, they never have to worry about running out of money. But they also want to make sure that they can continue to maintain the lifestyle that they've been living while they were working, as well as they want to be able to travel, do the fun things, do the things that they've always wanted to do once they got to retirement. And so this can be really stressful when you go from saving money every single month into a 401k or an IRA. And now you've got to make that mindset shift where instead of putting money into those retirement accounts, you have to start to take that money out. And when you start to have to take money out of your portfolio, another big question I always get is, where should I be taking the money out from? How should I be invested? What's the best way that I should have my investments positioned for long-term success in retirement? And so what we're going to walk through today is a framework that we walk through with every single one of our clients, and we call it safety, income, growth. And it's a 3-bucket retirement strategy that allows you to put a purpose on each bucket of money that you have, right? We want to look at your money as a tool to do the things that you want to be doing in your retirement. So we're going to separate this out into 3 different buckets that allow you to not have to stress and look at the stock market every single day, because you know that your money's set up in a way where market volatility can happen, and it will not be fun. We never like market volatility. But if you're set up the right way, you don't have to panic, right? Because you give your money time to recover by having your investments positioned the proper way. So the first thing we've got to do when starting to look at their investment strategy and their income strategy is, first, how much income do they need? What is their income gap? And also, how much money do they have saved? So we're going to use an example of a couple named Brad and Sarah. And we're going to say Brad and Sarah have $1 million saved for retirement in a couple different 401ks. So they have $1 million, and they've got Social Security coming in, and they've got a small pension that's Brad is getting. So they've got that coming in. So their income gap is about $3,000 per month. That is how much they've got to start to take out of that $1 million that they have saved for retirement. So now what we've got to do is break this $1 million out into 3 different areas to give each area its own job, its own purpose, to help make sure that they can comfortably take that $3,000 plus inflation for the long term. Because one thing that Brad and Sarah were really passionate about is they wanted to make sure that they could travel, they wanted to make sure they could maintain their lifestyle, and that was a non-negotiable. If they couldn't do that, they would maybe want to work an extra 1 or 2 years to ensure that they would be able to eventually do that in the future. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, market volatility can be really scary when you're taking money out of your investments. We never want to be taking money out while our stocks are down. So this framework right here is what we do to avoid that problem. So let's start over here with the first bucket, and I call this safety. This is where we're going to start. And an example of something that would go in your safety bucket is, I'm sure you're probably thinking it, but cash, money market, CDs. This is safe money that is not going to be affected by stock market volatility. I always call this your sleep at night money. This is your rainy day fund. If you have a car issue come up, or if you have a home repair that you didn't see coming, this is why we like to have this safety bucket set aside there for those emergencies where we need to take money out. So safety is the start, but what's the issue with safety, right? This money, most of the time, is not going to perform very well. It's not going to grow, right? CDs, money markets, high yield savings accounts, those actually have been performing quite a bit better as interest rates have been up here these last few years, but you can't rely on having all your money in safety unless you just don't have a lot of expenses and you have plenty of money saved for the long term, because we've got to make sure that this money can last forever and can keep up with inflation, right? So safety is the first bucket, but now we've got to start to figure out, where are we going to pull our money out of consistently each month, right? Where are we going to pull that $3,000 out every single month? And this is where you add the income bucket. And in your income bucket, you're going to have things like bonds. This could be dividend paying stocks. This could be REITs, real estate. This could be certain types of annuities, income-focused annuities, right? So this income bucket, as you'll see, these have to be income-focused investments, and they have to be safe, right? We can't be dealing with volatility when it comes to your income, because if we know that no matter what, every single month you have to take out $3,000 per month, $36,000 a year, and then you're going to see that rise with inflation, well, we want to make sure that we're sleeping okay, knowing that our income bucket is not going to be overly affected by any market volatility. So I always start with safety and income. And I remember when Brad and Sarah were telling us that, hey, we want to travel, we want to do all these things, assuring them that we would have their safety and their income taken care of so that they could do all those things, had them feeling so much less stressed as they went into retirement. And one thing I always like to do to kind of show this is I'll draw a line here and I'll write the word lifestyle. And this money here, your safety and your income, this is how we're gonna live your lifestyle. This is what we're going to use to maintain what you've been doing and continue to travel and do all those things you want to do in retirement. So those are the first two buckets. And then the third one is what we call simply growth. And this is the one I started the video talking about. This would be the S&P 500. This would be stocks, mutual funds. This would be like owning NVIDIA stock, owning Apple stock. But this part of the plan is important. We need to have growth because, as I've said, your safety and your income, those aren't going to perform and grow really well, right? That's not the purpose of those two buckets. But your growth money, this is the money that we need to last for the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years. And this may be there as a backup for you if you ever end up going into like a long-term care type situation. You don't have long-term care. You need your money still growing to keep up with inflation and to make sure you have a healthy nest egg there well into your 80s and into your 90s. And if you end up not needing to use your growth money, well, that's great. Now you've just left a really good legacy, a nest egg to your kids. Okay, so safety, income, growth. Now, Your growth money, as we've talked about, it's not going to just go up in a straight line. That would be great, but it doesn't. Instead, what we've seen is in 2023 it went up, in 24 it went up, but then here in 25 it was down, in 2022 it was down. So it's never going to be a straight line up. You're going to have some down years and you're going to have some up years. And most of the time, historically, the S&P 500, the growth stocks, the growth funds that you own have done pretty well. The S&P's average anywhere from 8, 9, 10% a year. So we still want to have this growth bucket covered, but we've got to first make sure we have your safety and your income taken care of before we even look at how much we want to put in that growth bucket. So now let's just look at how this may look for someone like Brad and Sarah. And let's say that they wanted to have $50,000 set aside here in that rainy day fund, that safety bucket. Okay, that may be in a high yield money market account, maybe some of it's just in their checking account, but they want to have $50,000 there. That was a comfortable amount for them. For income, we may say we're going to put $600,000 here in their income bucket. And finally, that's going to leave them with $350,000 here for long-term growth. And what's so good about this is that even if that $350,000 in year one is down 20%, like 2022, the market was down 20, 25%, depending on what you were invested in. Even if that happens, right? Brad and Sarah know that they are not touching this money for the next 10, 15 years. So they can handle a market drop knowing that they have the time to let it recover. Whereas if they just put all their money in that growth bucket and then year one of retirement, they take $36,000 out of their portfolio and the market drops 20%. Well, then what happens if in year two, like 2000, 2001, 2002, where we saw multiple years of market downturns, what happens if you're pulling 36, 40, 45,000 out in those years? Well, even as it starts to recover, like it always has, you don't have as much money in there that you started with to allow it to catch that rebound, right? So this is why safety income growth can be so powerful for your plan. It's going to help you sleep better at night. It's going to make you not stress near as much about the market. And my goal for our clients is that they're not checking where their stocks sit or where their growth funds sit each day, because they know this is a 10, 15, 20 year plan, and where they're really focused on is making sure they've got the healthy income bucket and the healthy safety net, that they don't have to be stressed to cover that next vacation they want to take, to cover that lifestyle that they want to maintain. And I truly think every single person that is close to or in retirement should be using some sort of framework just like this. So if this video was helpful, please go below and like this video, subscribe to our channel. And like I said, if you want to go below and take a quiz to see if you're getting the proper amount of planning for your retirement, please do. So thank you for watching this week's video. We will be back again soon. Have a great weekend.